We're live.
We're live talking about this weekend's top rank card.
You hear me?
What'd you say?
Tell the class about yourself.
Say it again.
I said tell the class about yourself.
Tell the class about myself.
Yeah.
Well, this was Dom. That's Dre. About to go over the top rank card from this weekend.
All right. So, are we starting at Nico and Danny?
Yeah, we can start at Nico and Danny.
You want to talk about Amari Jones?
I didn't get to catch those fights. I caught the Nico fight. I wasn't able to catch those because it was earlier. I didn't know they were starting that early.
Yeah.
You can go over those though because you was able to see them.
I mean, the only ones I really got to watch was I saw that Floyd Diaz, and he looked good, super technical, nothing too crazy. He's fighting a Mexican boxer, so the Mexican boxer was putting a lot of pressure on him, and he
let him show his skills. He was coming forward so he could show his skills and.
Yeah, so it's just one of the fights so he can showcase the skill. Then Emilio Vargas, he got a knockout super quick. Or Emiliano, my bad. Emiliano Vargas got a quick knockout, so it wasn't really too much. He didn't really show much because they just kind of threw somebody in there with him. But I will tell you something funny, though, that we're talking about the Floyd Diaz, how they had him fight a Mexican boxer so they can see how he does with pressure.
Yep.
When Danny and Nico started fighting, it was either Tim or Andre. They was like, "Oh, he's only fighting. This fight is so we can see how he does against somebody with footwork who gets in and out." And then I think Nico lost that fight. So
yeah, my personal opinion.
Yeah,
my personal opinion. I think it was a draw. Nico, he kind of he threw the jab a lot. He threw more punches and landed more. But I felt like Danny controlled the fight more, if that made sense.
Danny was out there having fun, laughing. Nico was frustrated, bro. I feel like if you're that frustrated, you're losing. And he wasn't winning the exchanges. Danny was in and out. His footwork was crazy. He got the I think his footwork's a lot like the dude that Boots just fought. That's who I thought of. Can't remember his name, but the
Karen. I can't remember his last name.
Kardashian. We have
Karen Kardashian.
Yeah. His footwork was like that. I was really impressed by Danny's footwork.
Yeah, he looked good. He knew how to move around the ring. But I felt like also he had a little bit more power than the Karen guy. He was actually delivering some good shots and clean shots on Nico. And it was interesting to see how Nico responded and stuff. But yeah, hats off to Danny for getting another draw on his resume. He has 5 draws now.
Yeah. Hey, I think Ali Wash one's good, but I mean, I feel like they're just trying to build him up, and my nose is tough like hell. I feel like they're just trying to build him for not for no reason, but do they see him being a big name, somebody who's gonna be a real contender? You know what I mean?
I think they're moving him kind of quickly because Nico, that was his 7th fight. Fought Danny, that was his 29th fight, now 30th fight. So I mean, they threw him out there with someone that had a little bit of experience, seeing how he could handle it. Good. I mean, he even though he had a draw, I mean, it was good work, good experience, things like that. I feel like Nico one day, just from his name alone being Muhammad Ali's grandson, I feel like they're going to start to move him kind of carefully just so he doesn't lose, because I feel like one day he could potentially be a big draw just for that alone, the whole background story of Ali's grandson, coming through the ranks, things like that, fighting for top rank like his granddad did.
Yeah, he could be a big draw for that, but you got to think in today's age of boxing, once you get 1-2 lot, Loma has 3 losses right now, but Loma's a different story. He got that amateur background to where they're okay, he's still Loma.
Yeah, he has good losses.
But you got to look at somebody like Tio. He got 1 loss and people think he's done. There's a lot of people who in boxing, after somebody loses, even though boxing is a sport, keep that in mind, no other sport other than boxing, you can lose and then people completely
write you off.
Yeah, think about it. You're a Celtics fan. Y'all are down 3-0, but you
he went there.
But it's crazy that people do that. But I don't think Nico's gonna be a guy that can keep on fighting and keep on progressively getting better opponents and can be somebody that's has less than five
Yeah,
losses. You know what I mean? And that's no
yeah,
knock on him. He's a good boxer, but like nowadays, in order to be a big draw, you have to be like a very, 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 very good boxer. Like if I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we're going to talk about this later on in the podcast. Well, actually, I won't even talk about them. Like AJ has what, 3 losses?
yeah.
He's still in the conversation just because he's an entertainer, but like nobody's like putting him where he was before he lost to Usyk. Like everybody was like, okay, Ruiz is that was a bad fight. He wasn't himself. But now that he lost to Usyk twice, they're like, yeah, he's done. And that catapulted Usyk to another level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think Nico could really be on that level. Like, I mean, Ali had what, like 7 losses, something like that.
Yeah.
But that was a different era. Like you could lose and people still liked you. So
What I see from Nico, and he can definitely improve on it, but I don't really see that hunger, like that he actually likes boxing. It's kind of like he's doing it for the wrong reason type deal.
Yeah.
Now he's good and fundamentally sound, but it's like I don't know, he just kind of moves robotic. He's kind of flat footed. I just feel like he just doesn't have no like that flavor, like you know what I mean. Like he can't get in and out or move around real well. He's just kind of like like that solid fighter, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like like a Shane Mosley Jr. He's solid, but I mean he has what 4 or 5 losses, but at the same time he's like he's a good fighter. He can beat some guys. If you don't show up, he can upset you, like things like that. But he doesn't, when you watch him, he doesn't jump out at you like he's has some like super raw talent, super explosive, super athletic. Like I just don't see that in him.
Yeah, but you gotta have that.
And I hope he proves me wrong. But from last night, that's what I see.
He was arguing with his corner, after like round 6, 7, they were like, did you hear him argue with his coach? He was saying like the game plan wasn't working, what he's telling him ain't working. So he got to get past that too. You can't be uncoachable at the fight. Like they see stuff you don't see, so you can't be arguing back.
For sure, yeah, because they've been around it longer than you have. They see something, they've studied the film, they've game planned and stuff like that. The main thing is you have to follow your game plan.
It's the cornrows, bro. He got them cornrows with no taper. He ain't thinking right.
Yeah, for sure. He got that 1990 them 1990 straight backs.
Yeah, but I guess we can move on to the next fight. It was Nakatani and Maloney.
Nakatani looked good.
Yeah, he was tearing him up the whole fight. Like, it wasn't even like it was competitive. Don't get me wrong. Like he kept on coming forward, but Nakatani was too much for him. Nakatani's nice.
He is nice. I expected a little bit more of a close fight because Maloney, he has that pedigree. Him and his brother, they've both been champions. But that knockout was brutal. The first knockdown, the first knockdown, the uppercut. I mean, I thought it was over right then and there, but he was able to get up because he has that, he has that championship experience, things like that. He's been there, he's been in the moment. But Nakatani, he was too much. He was too much. That was potential knockout of the year contender.
Yeah, there's really not much to say about that fight because it was
that was my first time seeing Nakatani. It was only his second time in the States fighting over here, so it was my first time actually like watching him. But yeah, he's like that.
Yeah, he's nice. And then old dude that his name starts with the M and Nakatila.
Muratalla, yeah,
that was a really good fight. Up to the TKO,
Yeah, it was. You could kind of see the knockout coming. They're both, power punchers. They was both kind of trying to fill each other out. Muratalla got to him first. He hit him with a clean shot. He wasn't able to continue. Hurt him real bad. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive. It was competitive, but I didn't think it was going to end that early. I was, expecting more so like a 7th, 8th, 9th round, stoppage on whoever, got worn down first. Whoever's conditioning was, better. But yeah, hats off for him. I'm curious what he does next.
He called out the winner of the main event, but how do you think he would do if you set up like him and Isak Cruz or like him and Cambosos or something like that?
I like him and Cambosos just kind of see where he is. Another one that's underrated, I would like to see him against Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz, an opponent of Loma. He pushed Loma to the end really. Loma edged out a unanimous decision, but I feel like Jermaine Ortiz is still top 10, top 15 fighter. Only has one loss. I thought it'll be interesting to see how he fares up against him, a big lightweight.
Yeah, and he's a young guy, so that would be a good matchup.
Yep,
I
two
don't
guys
think
trying to prove their names.
for Haney and Loma because they're gonna go out there with a game plan to get away from the powerful shots. So I don't think he's quite ready for that.
Yeah.
And like to call out those two, you got to be on a different level. Like they're not about to fight anybody right now. I mean, Loma might because he's coming off of a loss, but Devin Haney, all his fights are gonna be strategically placed now. So you got to be bringing something to the table for Devin Haney to fight you right now.
Yeah, I feel like he needs that one more good win, one more solid win, until he gets into that contender stage.
Yeah. And even that contender, like, it's going to be hard to fight Devin Haney or Loma. Loma's kind of doing, like, legacy fights now. Like, so it's going to be hard for him to get one of them. It's kind of a crazy call out, to be honest, because a lot of people, that fight put him on the map with a lot of people. So that was kind of crazy for him to call him out. But, hey, shoot for the stars.
Yeah, if I was him, I just wouldn't jump right in there yet, because you don't want to move too fast. He's still young, he's still developing, he's still there's still things to do.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about Valdez and Lopez?
So last time Valdez was able to get the stoppage. This time though, I feel like he took a little bit less damage. He's more, cautious in there. He knew Lopez was a puncher because last time they fought, he actually dropped him. So, I mean, I like the Oscars win. I feel like as long as he gets by, as long as he gets a win, get through this puncher, go see Navarrete. But Navarrete at the end of the year try to get his belt back. So yeah, hats off to Valdez. I feel like he dominated. Although it was a decision win and didn't get the stoppage like he did last time. I feel like he dominated the fight, controlled the fight. He pressed him. He hurt him a few times, but he just didn't want to go for the kill because didn't want to get hurt again.
Yeah, I think Oscar can sit down there and collect the belts like Infinity Stones. So I don't really think he has much competition.
Yeah, there's not too much down there at 130.
No, unless Loma goes back down, but now he's gonna go down. So
yeah. Honestly, I feel like at the 130 division, Oscar in my eyes is one of the top guys. I feel like he's been there with the better guys. He could improve a little bit on his boxing. I feel like sometimes he's a little bit too much pressure, but yeah, hopefully he doesn't run into.
He starts throwing wild. He throws really wild once he gets like comfortable.
Oh yeah. Sometimes whenever he's kind of like with a boxer and he gets frustrated and things like that. Like a slick boxer that can get in and out and avoid his punches. He kind of gets reckless with it. Throws a lot of wild shots, and as long as he stays disciplined and stick to the game plan and things like that, I feel like he'll be solid and he can get his belt back and be another champion again.
Yeah, Lopez is a warrior though. He's sat in there and he fought as hard as he could. There was multiple times when he was like, yeah, they're going to stop it. They're going to stop it. They're going to stop it. And they never did. So hats off to him.
Yeah. And now on to our main event. How'd you feel?
Because I got a lot to say about it.
I know you do. That's why I gave us a little bit of time. How'd you feel about it?
I mean, I feel like it was a tough fight for Devin. I watched the fight twice. It was close, man. It was really close. I think Devin would. I don't think he convinced. I don't think he went out there and he stole the fight or anything. I think Devin would, off the basis, give the fight to the champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Loma was a champion, he would have won probably. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was.
It was one of those numbers where, like, you didn't do enough to take the belts off the champion type deal.
Yeah. Like, it was a great fight. It's going to be an all-time fight. It's going to be a classic fight, I think. But it kind of scared me because with Shakur, who is like, when he's in the ring, it seems like he has no flaws. And then Tate with all that power, it kind of scares me. Like, where's Devin going to fall with him? Because out of the three, I'll admit, Devin is my favorite fighter out the three. So, like, I'm like, ooh, like, I don't think Shakur would stop Devin, but if Devin and Tank fought at this exact moment, I think Tank would stop him, and that's what's scary. because he got to stop doing that dipping down. Like, he got to stop dipping down. Like, when he dips down like that, he gets caught every time.
Yeah. Yeah, Loma was capitalizing on that all night. So
He
how I
moves
felt,
very, like, I don't know, like, sluggish. Like, the way that he's, like, it's like he's trying to, like, I don't know what he's doing sometimes. I'm like, why is he moving like that?
oh yeah.
He's
How,
stiff.
so how'd you score it? How close did you think it was?
I, a 7-5?
7-5.
Yeah.
Me, how I felt about it. So I haven't watched it a second time. I've seen some highlights and stuff like that. You know, I've saw some of it. I watched some of it without the audio because I know the audio affects us, affects everything. So first time I watched it with my own eyes. At first, it was going into the 12th round. I was like, Devin needs to win this round. It's probably tied. Devin needs to he has to close strong, win this round. So he obviously I thought he clearly won round 12. A lot of people think Loma took 10, 11, 12, but I thought Loma, the only clear rounds he took, like for sure in my eyes, were like 10 and 11. Those
He took
10,
he took 3.
yeah, he took three. But like
rounds are around 1 and 12, which even Loma admitted he gave him 12. So I don't even know why people are saying 12. And I get one to Devin. Like, Devin was busy around 1. He was making a miss. But, you see it two ways, right? Loma was busier, but Devin was more effective in my eyes. So depending on what you're judging off of is who you're going to have as the winner. If you think the busier guy is the guy who's going to win, then yes, like, you're going to have Loma winning. But if you're going off of effectiveness, I feel like Devin was a little bit more effective because he was getting to the body. He wasn't missing as much, and he wasn't using as much energy. You know what I mean? So
yeah, what I saw in the fight is that so Dev would start the rounds. He'd start strong, sharp jab, check hook. He's moving his feet well. At the beginning, he's pressing the issue. He was going after Loma. Sometimes he'll box off his back foot. What I started to notice though throughout the fight is that although Devin was doing all this for like 2.5 minutes in the round, Loma would throw like a nice flurry at the end, land some good shots, and he tried to steal around. So a lot of people didn't really try to pay too much attention to Devin, being, a slick boxer, jabbing him, controlling the fight, boxing off his back foot. And they were just more so, because it's more appealing, people like brawling, people like people throwing a lot of punches. I feel like Loma stole some rounds just because he throw some nice flurries, towards the end of the round. In the 10th, I do feel like in the 10th when Loma he outpunched him 20-2. I feel like he did hurt Dev, and I feel like if he tried to, he could have possibly. I feel like he had a chance to like really hurt Dev, but I feel like Dev's body work kind of took a toll on Loma like towards the end of the fight. Like I feel like Loma would throw a flurry and stuff like that, but like if he hit Dev or kind of hurt Dev or anything like that, he would stop because I feel like he was at that point he was hurt to the body to where like he couldn't capitalize on him, and that's kudos to Dev working the body out. No one's seen that coming. I never would have thought Dev would just would have kept going to the body, but I feel like that paid off in that aspect, and he was able to close the show. He was able to win round 12. Whenever I first looked at it, I thought it was going to be a draw. But I mean, I feel like it was one of those fights like it could have went either way. 7-5 Dev, 7-5 Loma. But people saying robbery is crazy. I don't think it's a robbery because for the simple fact that it was that close a fight. You can't call a close fight a robbery.
you can't. You can't. And I just think that you're going to give the fight to who's more. I just think you're going to give it to who's more effective. I'm not going off of
punch totals and punches landed. Like it's effective aggression.
But the thing is, he's sitting there and he's picking his shots wisely. Loma didn't respect his power, which it didn't seem like Loma. He was really hurting Loma either, to be honest. But he didn't respect his power, so Loma was getting a lot more off. But at the end of the day, Devin was a lot more effective.
Yeah,
like what
he was picking his shots, but he landed 47% of his punches. Like that's almost.
I think it was 41% of his power punches. Yeah, but I might be mistaken. It might have been 41% of his punches, but like he was fighting a lot more effective. But I mean, Loma was active, so it's just hard. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm very biased, so I'm going for Devin anyways. So it's like, would I be? I don't know if I would think this way if the roles were reversed. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard. What do you think about Bill Haney not really changing up the plan once?
Yeah, I feel like that just goes with his experience being in the corner. He's only really coached Dev, to my knowledge, but yeah, I feel like he kept trying to tell Dev to throw the jab, throw the jab, throw the jab, which obviously, like, that's not a bad idea, but at the same time, Loma's so slick, so experienced. He's seen that. He's like, his amateur pedigree is impeccable. He's the best amateur ever. So you can't beat Loma off just a jab. If that's the only thing you're in the corner telling him to do, then you're done right there. Loma picked up on the jab. He was able to work around the jab. He was timing his jab, getting around him, using his feet. Loma's great with his feet. He was able to get around, and I've never seen Dev vulnerable like that. Outside of Linares hitting him with a good shot, which everyone gets hit with a good shot before, I've never seen someone, because he has one, in my opinion, one of the best jabs in boxing. But Loma's skill, like pure skill and speed and footwork, was able to neutralize that. And I've never seen Dev vulnerable to where like his jab wasn't really working like that. So it just kind of makes it interesting. So it's just like, I want to see him in there. It's his first to fight with like legit top competition. So like, it makes you wonder, like, what would it be like if he's out there with Shakur or Tank Davis? Like Shakur, he's probably,
because you can't fight like that with Shakur. Like with Shakur, they're gonna adjust their game plan accordingly. And that's what you would think Devin and Bill would do, because I feel like Devin and Shakur, you put them at this standard where they're the smartest fighters and they're this and they're that, and their IQ's insane. So it was kind of like puzzling to me that Devin wasn't changing this game plan up. Like, I was kind of like, come on, Dev, we need to do something. We need to do something. We need to do something. Because, he got put in deep waters and nothing really changed. And it was kind of like, what's going on? Like, I like, what are you doing? Like, Bill, tell him to do this, do that, do this, do that, so it's kind of insane to me that they didn't change up their game plan. I've seen a lot of people saying that, like, he needs, like, to get a new trainer and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
I don't think he needs a complete new trainer. I feel like it'd be good to get extra eyes in the camp. Like like with Caleb Plant, it wasn't just his dad. He added Breadman, and you saw him get a little bit more power, things like that. I feel like maybe they could add maybe some more eyes in their camp, kind of like maybe like a Mexican style fighter or something like that. Make him a little bit more aggressive, show him different looks and things like that. Because I feel like it's good to be technically sound, but I feel like you need just more tools in the toolbox. If you want to beat a Tank Davis or you want to beat a Shakur Stevenson, you got to have more tools, because they're changing their game plan. They're good at adapting and just switching it up. Tank can box, he can bang, he can fight on the inside, he can fight on the outside. He has that equalizer. Shakur, he'll sit in the pocket and you can't hit him. He'll be in your pocket. He can fight in, he can fight out. He has that pedigree.
I would like to see. I would like to see Shakur with Loma, because I think Loma would be a good test for him too, because we haven't really seen him tested. Like, we haven't really seen Tank tested either. Like, I feel like Loma's a good opponent for both of them, because Ryan Garcia isn't. I mean, he has a powerful left hook, but other than that, he's not. That's not a real test. Hector Luis Garcia isn't like a real test for Tank. Like, I think Loma would be a good test for both of them, but I feel like kind of after you fight Tank, you kind of damage goods, like, because I think Tank would probably knock Loma out. So, I would like to see them with Loma, because I see a lot of people talking about Devin like he's not fighting fucking Lomachenko. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, give him some respect. That's Loma. It ain't like he's fighting some random dude. Like, he's fighting Loma. He had a lot of great moments in that fight. Like, there was times when Loma did that stuff where he like spins around you, and Devin spun right with and he couldn't get nothing off. There's a couple times, you know what I mean? Like, you haven't really seen anybody. Tio wasn't doing that with Loma. Like, the rounds he won, he was just kind of like beating him. You know what I mean? So it's hard, because I feel like that was a better Loma than Tio fought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely was Loma whenever he fought Tio. Like, he had that shoulder injury, things like that. And I feel like Loma respected Tio's power more. So that's why he was more like, taking his time. But with Dev, there's a rumor that he doesn't have no power. So he was trying to, step to him, things like that. So in that aspect, I felt like you saw a better Loma because he was more aggressive. He was being the aggressor like the Loma that we know.
Yeah. So I think Devin needs to get some strength training, something to where I don't know, because it's hard to generate power in a punch. Like you can be a strong dude and not punch that hard. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you're naturally born with. That pop. I don't know what he needs to do, but I feel like that's the one big piece that Devin's lacking. And like people have said that Shakur don't really got any pop before too. So like
Yeah. But
it's hard.
I feel like it's also him. He needs to sit down on his punches more because he's a bigger guy. I just feel like he's always fighting off his back foot and things like that. And I feel like he's kind of like pity patting whenever he throws his punches. Last fight with Loma, I feel like he was sitting down on that body shot. That body shot, you could hear it.
Yeah.
So I feel like he just needs to sit down on his punches a little bit more. And I feel like the power will come as he moves up. I feel like he's kind of draining himself at this point, which is kind of to my next question. What do you think is next for Devin? Do you think he should stay for Tank Davis or he should just move up?
I think he should go up to 140. I think if you want to go like the business side of things, like go up, fight for undisputed at 140, fight whoever wins out, Taylor and Teofimo Lopez, and if you beat them, you win undisputed at 135, and you win it at 140. And then you can sit up there, and out of all the guys at 140, I feel like all of those are easier fights than what you got left at 135. If you're thinking like I want to keep my I want to have this Floyd Mayweather career, I think that going up to 140 would be his best bet. Now, if he wants to have some tough fights and possibly loses, then stay at 135 and fight Tank and fight Shakur. But I don't think none of them guys at 140. Who are they talking about? They got Regis up there. I don't think Regis is as hard of a fight as Tank or Shakur. Regis is a hard fight, but I don't think that. I don't think Taylor or Tio are that hard of a fight. They keep on posting pictures of Ryan at 140. Ryan is definitely not as hard as a fight as Shakur or Tank. So I think 140 is his best route if he wants to keep his and he wants to keep on winning. Right now he's playing the villain role. So what's more of a villain move than going up, taking somebody's belts, then kind of clearing out that division? And he's a big guy. So he's not going to be able to stay at 140 forever either. He's 24.
As a fight fan, what fight do you want to see him fight next? Like, as a fight fan,
I would like to see him versus Josh Taylor. I think that would be a great fight.
it's interesting. Yeah,
because I think Josh Taylor is going to beat Teofimo, because I think Teofimo's kind of gone off the deep end, and he's not.
One thing with Dev, what I saw with Loma is that if he wants to beat Josh, he gonna have to work on that inside game because Josh is money on the inside game.
Yeah.
If he gets close to you, starts clinching you, get you on the ropes, using his size, his weight, because he's thinking about moving up to welterweight, so he's already a big junior lightweight. Me personally, and I feel like I want to see him and Tank. I just feel like they have so much history, and I feel like at this point it's now or never. If Dev moves up right now, Tank stays at 135 a couple years. I feel like that won't happen.
Yeah, I said Josh Taylor out of being the Devin Haney fan. Like, yeah, Tank will be a big fight for him, but like boxing is a business, and they think purely at the business point. I don't think that's a smart fight for him.
Yeah, I feel like if he fought Tank right now, Tank could probably get him. I feel like Tank is in the prime of his career, whereas Dev, I feel like he still has room to grow. I think his best years will be whenever he gets up to 140 and 147 is where he'll thrive and be able to, showcase his skill, get a little bit more power. I feel like Tank and Dev, just because they have that so much history, I feel like that'll be a good money fight for Dev. I feel like he still does have a shot because he is bigger than Tank. He has way longer reach than Tank, and he does still have a shot. So if he's trying to get paid and have another legacy fight, in terms of legacy, that is one that you won't forget.
I think it's dangerous for him though, because Tank brings the casual black audience in, right? Devin is newer to the black audience. Like, people are tuning in to watch him now. Not as many people as Tank brings in, but people are tuning in to watch him. If he fights Tank right now, I think Tank's a better boxer right now. Tank beats him right now, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think Tank. I feel like Tank's just in his prime, and I feel like Tank's in his prime. He has the power. He has the boxing ability. I feel like he's just a man on a mission right now.
Yeah.
I feel like he's locked in. They're already studying Dev. They're already studying.
Yeah. Let me finish what I'm saying about Devin. If he fought Tank right now, this audience that he's trying to get right now will kind of leave him, bro, because he lost to Tank, and everyone will be like, Tank beat him. I ain't worried about watching him fight. You know what I mean? So I think for him, the audience that he's trying to gather, because he has all of the boxing fans, all the people that love boxing, either love or hate him because of who he is. So if he goes and fights Tank right now, he's going to lose a lot of fans if he loses. If he wins, then he'll get fans. But also, if he wins by throwing a jab and being a slick boxer, they're not going to think he won either. Like how anytime Floyd beats somebody, they discredit him. But I just think if he was to fight Tank right now, he would lose all his credibility. You know what I mean?
I see where you're coming from. I don't think he'll lose all his credibility though, because he still is an undisputed champ. It would be one loss to a killer,
dude. to the average dude that don't really watch boxing like that, they're gonna be like, Tank beat him. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like how they think that just because they don't think like styles make fights. They just say, okay, this person lost, they're done.
Yeah, I feel like Floyd messed that up.
Yeah, he did.
Floyd definitely messed that up because I feel like there's just so many good fights, and I'd love for them to mix and match all of them. I don't care if they all got 2 or 3 losses. I don't
care if he loses, but I want him to be successful and make all the money he can. And I think if he fights Tank right now, he won't be able to gain traction with the casual viewers. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just think it out. If I was Shakur, I would be calling Tank right now because I think Shakur can beat Tank.
I feel like that's a 50-50 fight. I feel like honestly, I feel like
they can force Devin Sand. I think.
Say it again.
If those two fight, they can force Devin Sand.
Yeah, I just feel like Shakur and Tank. I feel like that's a great fight to make. I feel like you can mix and match them anyway. You can do Shakur, you can do Tank. I feel like Shakur could possibly, just sit there, outbox Tank, sit in the pocket, counter him, things like that. But in the same sense, it's like in boxing, you're gonna get hit, and you've never seen. He's been in there with tough competition, but you haven't seen him when he's gotten hurt. Like, you haven't seen him when he's vulnerable. And I feel like a fight like that, both guys will be vulnerable. It's like, how much heart you got, how much that dog you got in you. And that'll be interesting to see because you can see Shakur, he ain't backing down and he has that dog. Yeah. For sure Tank do too. So.
I can tell you what they're going to do. They're going to either, and this is on the future of the lightweight division. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Watch. If this happens, you owe me some money. You owe me $100 if this happens. Devin's going to move up. They're going to make Shakur fight either Loma or Cambosos, or they might make Cambosos and Loma fight, and then the winner of that gets Shakur.
Yeah, I like the Loma and Cambosos to get Loma another win.
Yeah, and then they're going to make Tank's probably going to fight Frank Martin or somebody like that because they're both on Showtime, right?
Yep. So
those two are probably going to fight, or who else is on Showtime that's in the conversation?
Eastside Cruz.
They're not going to Tank ain't going to fight him again.
Calvin Ford was calling for it, but I feel like it's not a good look for Tank. He can't. That's like backtracking. Calvin Ford said he wouldn't mind part two.
They're putting Frank Martin up there. I've been seeing a lot of posts with him. So Tank might fight Frank Martin to get one more win, and then all the belts are going to be spread out to, the different organizations are going to give their people the belts, and then it's going to start this whole race for undisputed again. And I think Shakur is going to end up with all the belts. He's Thanos right now of the lightweight division. I think him showing up at Devin's fight was kind of unnecessary because we all know that he's not going to be Devin's next fight.
I feel like it was a top rank thing. Like, you have the undisputed champ, and then who they're trying. Then you have the next guy that they're trying to move to, to be that. I feel like they are gonna Dev, if he does vacate all the belts, I feel like Tank, he'll grab one. Obviously, Shakur will grab one, but underrated one. I think ESPN, the way they're moving Keyshawn, they're gonna try to get him a shot. I feel like they're gonna, because Shakur, whenever they moved him through the ranks, he was a champion at 14 fights.
No, they're not. You know why? Because Shakur and Keyshawn said they ain't fighting unless they get the bag. And
that's also a thing. I feel like they're not gonna. I feel like Shakur isn't gonna get undisputed unless he gets him off Dev. Because Keyshawn, he 100% said he's gonna get a title shot by the end of this year or sometime next year. And if Shakur has a belt and he has a belt, I feel like they'll just reign together. Someone to grab another belt and just be unified. But I feel like the way Top Rank's moving him, I feel like they're not gonna move him all the way up there in the top 5 and just have him sit on his hands because he's a young lion trying to get a belt.
Yeah, I think that's weird that, I don't know how long they've known each other, but it's kind of weird that they're, best friends, bro. Like, they know that they're going to have to fight each other eventually, or they can't have the legacy that they want. So that buddy stuff, I don't really get it.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I can understand being boys and stuff like that, but I feel like one day, eventually, they're going to have to cross paths. They're going to have to fight, in my opinion. But, yeah, I feel like ESPN is definitely moving in the direction to kind of, try to get Keyshawn a belt, try to get Shakur a belt. I think Tank will end up grabbing one. I think Frank will end up grabbing one, just with the routes they're going. Tank's going to get elevated because he already has – Tank already has a regular belt, so he's going to get elevated. He pretty much already has a belt for whenever Devin, he moves up. And Frank, him and Isak's the next, couple PBC fighters that are in line for a belt, so I think they'll fight for one. I think Frank's a little bit more talented. I feel like he outboxes Isak. Frank is kind of to me, a little bit of an off-brand Loma.
You think Isak and Frank are next?
Yeah, they're both in the top 5.
Tank fighting then.
Tank doesn't have to fight for one. He has a regular belt, so he'll get elevated.
Who's he gonna fight? He has to fight.
No, not necessarily. Like how Dev got, quote unquote, the email belt, and he got elevated. It'll be the same situation.
I'm not saying that he has to fight for a belt. I'm saying, who do you think he's gonna fight next, nigga?
Oh, according to him, he wants Dev or Shakur. So I'm thrown for a loop.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes sense if it's not them. If it's promotionally, it promotionally makes sense. Frank Martin, but if it's not Frank, then I
think it'll be Frank Martin because I think if I'm Top Rank, I got Cabosos that's still he's still a good fighter. He's not he's gonna be somebody on your list of wins. If you're looking at everybody's wins, you see Cabosos, you're gonna be that's a good win. You know what I mean? That's a good tough fighter. Loma, who's coming off of a loss, those who just lost to the same person for Undisputed, right?
Yeah.
You make that fight, that's the next fight. They're making that fight. I know they're already talking to Loma about that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You make that fight and you make it in October, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or September, October. Give Loma some time. Loma's hungry right now. And then you say, all right, you can turn around the fight in December, January time, right? And you can fight Shakur Stevenson. And that's a super fight right there. Loma and Shakur.
For a belt.
Yeah, and you have Shakur. I don't know. So you just make him – you give him another little tune-up fight because he'll take a tune-up fight if you tell him that, hey, you're going to get the winner of Cabosos and Loma. Because a lot of people want to fight Shakur.
You can get a Shakur and Jermaine Ortiz. Yeah, that's been going back and forth.
Ortiz. Yeah, because Shakur's kind of like the David Benavidez of the lightweight division. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the boogeyman.
Yeah, he is literally the boogeyman. So
All right. Well, we gotta wrap this up here in a second. I gotta put a little man to sleep. So, final thoughts over the weekend. How'd you feel about the card overall?
Uh, it was a good card. It was a great card. I think Devin has a lot to improve on. Um, I think there's a lot about to happen, a lot of moving parts in the lightweight division. But I think overall, Devin's going to go up. I think Shakur is going to be that guy in the lightweight division and give everybody bumps and bruises. I think Shakur and Tank will probably fight this time next year, if I had to guess.
That's what I need. That's what I need. I need Tank and Frank, Shakur, maybe Jermaine Ortiz, and then I feel like they're on a collision course.
And I feel like Devin's going to go straight into welterweight when they all come up there.
Oh yeah, if I'm Dev, I'm just gonna ride the wave and keep winning. I'm gonna go to 140 till them guys come to 140, and I'm gonna smooth talk my way up to 147 at that point. He better hope Boots isn't there though.
Yeah, I think he's a big dude too, so he's going to build up. I think he can progressively go up, but Devin's at that weight in that size, not that weight, but that size to where he can progressively go up too, to where he can avoid these fights until he's ready for them. Because I think he's smart. He's like Floyd. He thinks like Floyd, and he's going to avoid these guys as long as they can, as long as he can. But the thing is, his prime and Shakur's prime are going to line up. Tank's a little bit older than them, so his prime is happening. I think
Tank's in his prime right now.
Yeah, he has a couple years left of it, but it's boxing. He could be fighting until he's 45. Who knows?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean that's it for me. You got anything else?
No, that's it. We'll do another one on Thursday.
All right, sounds good. Peace.
Peace.